I welcome you all to this Facebook Live session on the eve of World Women's Day. Today's panel discussion will cover the WHO theme for 2022, Gender Equality Today for a Sustainable Tomorrow. We have 5 panelists who will represent different groups of specialists in the hospital. The first one will be Rakshita, who is a student intern in the Department of Speech Swallow Pathology. Sister Glossy, who is our nurse educator. We have Dr. Amrita Endau, a senior resident from the Department of Neurosurgery. We have Dr. Shobha B, senior consultant, Paediatric Haematology and Bone Marrow Transplant. And Dr. Rupali Gursale, the Deputy Medical Superintendent. I welcome all the panelists. Let's begin with the Gen Next. Rakshita. Do you think both boys and girls are given equal preference in career choices and for extracurricular activities?
First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak, ma'am, for representing the students here. So to speak about career choices, it is like a partial yes and a partial no. Because not all would be given the equal opportunity to choose their career and what they want to do that. But I was lucky enough to choose the career which I wanted to do as far as I thought. So, but what happens is now parents are being supportive. In the field of education, there is a choice for even both girls and boys, what they want to choose. But if it is somewhere in arts, if they want to perceive something in dance, like painting, music, whatever it is, parents are not that supportive in that. So I don't think there is an equal opportunity there. We should have an equal opportunity in both the things. If your daughter wants to do something in art, it's well and good. Let she do it something in art if she has the talent. So that should be given actually. And in extracurricular activities, it is not that okay to be in sports and all. Girls are not given that preferences for sports or to go on a field trips or to go on a class trip, anything as such, because during sports and all, what happens is we have to go for extra practices. We are supposed to wear short dresses, shorts, we have to wear shorts and all. So that time parents tell no need to go, you're wearing a short dress. So all these points matters a lot for us being a girl. So we can't go for an extra practice. These are the things what I've heard from my friends and all. They tell they were selected in the school team, but they were not able to represent themselves. So I don't think there is an equal career opportunities there.
Okay. How do you react to marriage proposals and parental pressure during your education period? I know everyone's gone through this, but how do you handle this?
So in the point of education, when we want to achieve something, this marriage is something coming in between of that. So you want to make your career, but parents tell okay, you can get married first and then you can start with your education. We'll search for a guy who will allow you to get well with your career, who will support your career. But this can't be guaranteed for everyone that this will happen. Maybe the person who comes might be understanding or may not be understanding. So it is the parents who has to support for girls to achieve their career, and they have to teach them to be independent first, and then the marriage comes in the next part. So this is not happening somewhere it is a pressure. Many of my friends have been hearing of is I'll do MSc because I want to just push off my marriage for 2 years. So I'll get an extra 2 years time so I can think what I want to do. So all these things are somewhere, it's like a gender inequality. Whereas boys are not asked to do that. They will be given time. When they tell, no, I don't want to get married now, they'll tell, okay. But whereas for girls, it is not the same. So they ask you're already 22. You're already 25. Oh, you are 30. When will you get married? So you're already 30. When will you have children? So all this comes in between of our career choices as well.
Does it affect you mentally in your performance and in your studies when this pressure is constantly onto you?
Yeah, it definitely affects with our performance, because when you're having a forceful thing, when someone is forcing you get married and you are really not willing to do, then this is really affecting us mentally.
Okay. What changes do you want to bring about in society for a better gender balance?
For gender balance, first I would like to tell parents to have trust in their child. Whoever it is, if it is a girl or a boy, doesn't matter, but give them equal trust. Boys have every trust. Boys can do whatever they want, whereas girls have to take permission for everything. Either going out, hanging out with your friends, or maybe it is in your education point, you want to perceive this, you want to perceive that, whatever it can be, we are asking permissions, but the decisions are made by someone else externally. It is not the decision what you are making. So parents should first trust their children completely, telling, okay, my daughter is capable of doing this, we have to encourage her. That is what the thought should come first. And then it will be like they have to stop being very over considerate or being overprotective or caring. They have to let go of girls to come out and face the actual world. Only then we will also know like what is happening and how should we face it. Like how we all are brought up is like we are very protected. Everything whatever we want is in our, like just we tell we want this, we are getting it. We are not struggling to get anything. So only when we struggle for something we'll know the value of it also, and even we'll know how to face people in outside. So when we are coming out, so you have to stop being overprotective. And the main thing is what people tell. We have to stop that what people will tell. Instead of telling your daughter, sit like this, do like this, what will other people think about you if you talk like this? Instead, tell it's okay to talk out, it's okay to keep your thought, whatever you have it. You don't have to worry about what other people tell because they're not doing anything to us. They're not helping us. It's your parents who are helping you out in every ways. So they have to be like, it's okay. Doesn't matter what others tells to us. So these three things should be considered.
Thank you, Rakshita.
Thank you, ma'am.
Moving on to Sister Glossy. Sister, nurses are the lifeline of a medical setup, and you people work really hard to get the system going.
First of all, thank you for giving this opportunity to discuss and to share about my thoughts and feelings about the gender discrimination on this Nurses Day. So I'm happy to say that more girls are choosing this profession, and we are facing so many challenges to overcome our work and our life balance in day-to-day activities. It's giving more stress, it's giving so many physical, emotional problems to so many, almost 90% of our community. So what is the main problem which we are facing is we have to make a strict timetable. We have to wake up early, we have to finish household work, and then we have to come for duty. Here we have to do the hectic duty, and then we have to go back to home, and then we have to do our works, household works there. This is the main challenges. Because of that, we will be getting more stress and leads to more, means so many disease condition because of the stress and because of the continuous work. And if anybody is asking the question, why are you doing like this, we can't tell. Okay, they will be telling that, okay, this, it's up to you, why are you going to work? But nobody even think about, oh, it's their career. Nobody even think about that. And second challenge is about the appreciation. Appreciation is very helpful in order to move on to the next level. If any works, if you are doing any strenuous works in our nursing profession, so many works are there, like providing CPR to the patient or lifting up a heavy patient. Even if our nurses, our women are doing very best also, they are not get appreciated from the correct personals. But in case if other persons are doing, they may get or they may not getting. But these girls are doing a very, means they're extreme they are doing, but nobody is appreciating them. This matters a lot. If you are appreciating them, then there will be a positive vibe and it will increase their pleasure, and then it is also affecting their work. Will be reflect in their work. So I think these are the main challenges which is facing in our professional life.
How is the support system, sister? Usually at home, do the nurses get enough support from their husbands, from their parents to help them with their children? Or, the seniors in the hospital, do you all get enough support, or are you all really, struggling to manage?
So I know so many members who is struggling a lot to manage the work as well as the life. As I mentioned earlier, it's a big work to handle both the life and means all the family part as well as the work part. So especially if anybody got sick, we cannot, it's for a common cold or simple headache, we can't take a leave, but we had to come for work as plus we had to continue the family. So sometimes there are so many members who is struggle like anything, but not getting any support from the family members and parents. So we should provide, at least we should consider them. We should tell them that, okay, it's okay not to be done like this, I will help out. Or for some persons, it's like just a support. Okay, no need to do anything, or just a simple words. That also nobody is telling to some personals. If we are telling at least one word, some girls will be happy with that. We should appreciate them in their work, what they are doing. We should appreciate them, and we should help them out. How they are completing all their tasks, we should appreciate and we should help them out.
Thank you, sister. Thank you for sharing your expressions. Thank you. Moving on to segment 2, we now have our charming and competent doctors. A very warm welcome to you all.
Thank you for having us.
Dr. Shobha B, Senior Consultant, Paediatric Haematology and Bone Marrow Transplant. Dr. Rupali Gursale, Deputy Medical Superintendent. Thank you for joining us. And our very dynamic Dr. Amrita Endo, who is a senior resident from the Department of Neurosurgery. Let's start with you, Amrita.
Yes.
Why did you choose neurosurgery? And what were people's reactions to your choice?
Thank you so much for having me and for Narayana to organize this. My choice of profession has been asked multiple times actually to me. It's not a profession which sees a lot of women very commonly, that is true. But I found it fascinating, and luckily for me, I had a lot of support at home to take up whatever I wanted to do. And my parents always, they never considered my career a hobby. They always considered my career a career. So I was given full support, and I know that not everybody is that lucky, but that's the reason why I chose my field. And how did people react to my choice? Well, many people were very surprised. I actually even had an uncle who came and told my parents that neurosurgery had the highest rate of suicides in the country. So, yeah. But over time, it's been good. Definitely, it has. When I had initially come to my department, there had not been a girl in it for like 10 years. But now I'm very happy to say, last 2 years, both years, we've had female juniors who've joined. So, very happy.
What have you learned over the past 4 years working with men?
Actually, if I have to sum up what I've learned working with men is that I think it's acceptance. Because what I have understood working with them is that majority of the guys that I work with are not inherently misogynistic or sexist. They are not that themselves. They are by and large unaware of what their actions or words may have, like what implications they may have. So that's what I learned. So I learned that having open communication, and this actually, I hope if there are any men out there who are watching this actually goes out to you. There was recently one UN General Assembly, there was one boy band that was called there, and they faced a very good question that you are a band of 7 men and you are supposed to be talking about the UN General Assembly topics, and one of them is gender equality. How do you, being 7 men, how would you get the right message across? And the answer I got was amazing. The answer was that the guy went like, I am a rapper, I come from the hip-hop scene, and there inadvertently we tend to objectify women a lot, and I never realized that I was doing it. I never realized that I was part of the problem. But luckily my fans pointed it out to me, and since then I have been aware and mindful. And as a result, since then, every piece of lyric that I've written, I've gotten it reviewed by a professor in women's studies. And that's why I want to give that example to other guys to be more aware of what they're doing, to educate themselves. And I think that is the core of it. That's what I have learned from working with guys, actually. The main change comes when they see women work with them again and again. They become aware of women instead of treating them like alien species. And just that education process which happens, like, I think it happens both ways. You also tend to understand how they react to situations, and they understand how you react. So I would like to see that change in more places. And I think that will happen only if more and more women join. So, yeah.
Do you think women do or behave in certain ways which actually unknowingly goes against them in maintaining this balance?
Yes, I do. I don't want to sound judgmental here because, everybody has different situations which motivate them to act in a certain way. And it's all very easy for me to sit here one day and, say, oh, this is not how you should behave. But it's not so simple, and it's a multifaceted problem. So I want to say that, I want to clarify that this is not coming from an oversimplification or a judgmental standpoint, but yes, there are certain behaviors which I wish I would see less. Like, I see women, they just tend to diffuse situations a little more. They tend to want other people's approval a little more, want peace at the workplace a little more. Whereas the guys, I see, they are a lot more comfortable confronting something or, not being liked. I don't know why, but men seem to be more comfortable not being liked. So they get to put their opinion forward. And many times I've seen women kind of bend over backwards just to make sure everybody else get along. But in the process, what ends up happening is her own authority gets undermined. The authority of other women who enter that zone, it gets undermined. And again, there are variety of factors motivating anybody to act like that. I'm nobody to, I don't have solutions. But yeah, I learned it the hard way. I think over 4 years, I've become more rude. Now I will just put whatever I feel out there. And luckily for me, my colleagues actually work pretty well with that.
So, they understand it better
yeah.
if you're direct.
Yeah. They are also very direct. I'm also very direct. So morning we will fight and then afternoon we'll have chai together. So it's okay. But yeah, definitely it is true. You need to have someone to have the chai with.
Yeah.
It is true that there are a lot of microaggressions which happen in the workplace for which a lot of women end up feeling very isolated. I mean, I've also been there. I know that because of that comfort zone. And that definitely is a problem. So like I said, I don't want to judge, but definitely, yeah. I feel that if people are a little more assertive, it might help overall.
What is the best advice you've got and, it's helped you through the most challenging times during your training period?
2 pieces of advice. One was actually something which I will combine the advice given by, remember I said that I was the first girl to join after 10 years, sort of?
Yes.
So the one lady who had joined before me, she's amazing, Dr. Smitha, she had told me this, and one of my current senior consultants had also told me this. They had said ki, unfortunately, you are a girl in a male-dominated field. You're never going to have the advantage of hiding in the crowd. You're always going to be seen. So that means all your mistakes will be amplified, and maybe your achievements might be seen, noticed more too, but you will definitely have the spotlight on you. You will be scrutinized. So don't think if you want to continue with neurosurgery, if you go to another hospital, you're going to have it any different, right? So you just have to accept that you will have to work harder, be more perfect to get to the same level of respect or trust or whatever. And that's not just with colleagues, honestly, it's with patients too, because patients also look at a neurosurgeon and expect a certain, I don't know, like middle-aged man, not somebody who looks like me. So that trust building thing will take some time because you are going to stick out. You just have to accept it as a challenge and do it. So that I think was very good advice. And the second one, kind of along similar lines, came from my mom. She said that, beta, world is unfair. And thankfully, gradually it's getting better. It was really bad back when she was there. But there are 2 ways of reacting to it. You can either sit and, feel sorry for yourself and keep telling yourself that the world is unfair, which it is. Or you can turn up and do something. And you don't do it expecting things will get better for you. You do it because things should get better and normalized for the next generation. So she was like, no, I didn't raise you to be the first one. I raised you to be the second one. So yeah, those 2.
Thank you for sharing, Dr. Amrita. It's really amazing to have the next gen. All the best.
Next gen is there?
Yes. Of residents who are training.
Thank you.
We'll move on to Dr. Shobha. She's someone whom we all admire, chosen a super specialty with long hours, I think trained after having a child. And can you tell us your journey?
Thank you, Dr. Smitha. So it's been a wonderful journey. It has made me the person I am today. So I'm very thankful I'm into it. And it's very tough too. like you said, long hours and all that. And I had a child already, a young child, 6-month-old child, when I started off with this journey. And it was extremely tough. I needed a lot of support both at home as well as at work, and I was fortunate to get both. Not everybody is that fortunate. When we say long hours, it includes both work at home as well as work at work. Both are work, you know. One is unpaid and the other one is maybe less paid, but both are work. I wouldn't say paid; it is less paid for us. So you need a lot of support, and no, everybody needs support. Men also need support, but that support comes without being asked. That's the point. Women have to demand the support. They will not get it just like that. Even if it is their own parents, you have to put there, I'm going to work. I have a baby, I need help. Men don't have to ask that. It is assumed that men need support and you have to give it. But for women, you have to demand. And what I learned over all these years is we should never feel guilty to ask. You have to ask, you have to demand. There will be a time when you can give back.
Yes.
You can give back. If not for the same person, you will be giving it back to somebody else. Somebody else will be benefiting from us. So you don't really have to feel guilty to ask and demand what you want. You have it's not about the right. It's definitely not about the rights. If you talk about rights, it becomes a friction. It's not about the rights. It's a demand. You can demand. You will give back someday in some form or the other. And that's what I learned. I think the biggest problem among women, which is the biggest hurdle, is the guilt factor. You're guilty as a wife, you're guilty as a mother, you're guilty as a daughter, you're guilty as a woman too. You know, unless we come out of this guilt, I don't think no female empowerment is going to help us, no qualification is going to help us, no support system from outside is going to help us. I know people who have got extremely good support from the family, but they're feeling so guilty that they're taking that support. Oh, my parents are helping me so much, I'm not there to help them. My kids are doing things on their own, I'm not there for them. I do feel that. It's not that I'm over that. I do feel that, but that's fine. So what? Right? I think it's fine. Everybody learn to adapt to certain things. For example, my son was a little one. I still feel bad that I leave him at home and come. But I guess that's what makes him a better person over the years. You never know. Probably he will grow up to learn that this is how life is. And maybe he will be a better man when he grows to a woman. Because he's seen me this way. Right? He's seen a working woman and he knows the demands of a working woman. He knows the nature of things that go on at home when there's a working woman. So I think that's how it should be. If you modify a lot, if you see in this WhatsApp forwards that I've seen mostly, Mother's Day especially, you see a woman's picture and multiple hands. One hand holding this out, one cooker, one book, one dress, one diaper, one step, one something else. Why should we multitask? There is no need. Focus on one task, do that, finish that and move to the next one. Strategy, planning, yes. But you don't have to do multi. I don't want to be a superwoman. I don't want to be a best cook. I don't like to cook. I hate to cook. I won't cook. What's wrong in that? It's not that my family will get their food only through me. No. You can outsource all that can be outsourced. Don't do what others can. Let them do it. You have unique qualities. Do only that. Support the others, supervise others, do all that. You don't have, if you can afford to have a cook, why not? You are giving somebody employment, you are giving them life, and you are making your job easy. Have a maid. You don't have to do everything and then feel guilty that, oh, I'm not cooking food for my son, I'm not required at all. I don't believe in being a superwoman. I just want to be good at what I believe, what I like. That's it.
What advice would you like to give to the younger girls who have this issue? They don't know what to say to their future husbands or in-laws. How do we negotiate this path which you want to take in the future of education, training and working? You know it in your head. Probably you can explain to your parents.
See, whenever you have an ambition in life, whether it is career or being the best mom or being the best doctor or lawyer or whatever, everything comes at a price. Nothing comes fully. It comes at a price. So if you decide to be a homemaker, you have a price to pay for that. You'll be financially dependent on somebody. If you decide to be a professional, you're not a perfect mother, you're not a perfect wife. Everything comes at a price. The sooner we accept that, the better. I think men are what they are because they have accepted that. They know they cannot be perfect fathers. They know they cannot be perfect husbands, and they've accepted that. We women want to be the best in everything. We want to be the best mom, best wife, best doctor, not required. And if I'm good enough, that's fine. And if I'm not best, they will learn. They will adapt ways to, get what they want, which they're not getting from me. There's lots of ways. So I think that is the advice I would like. Unless we accept that we don't have to be perfect, I don't think anybody can help us. One. And unless we accept that there are certain things that we have to do. For example, as a mother, I have to spend quality time with my son. If he has to grow up to become a better person, if he has to become a good doctor with the humanitarian qualities, I have to spend some quality time. But that I have to do. I have to make time for that. And I cannot tell I'm a doctor, I don't have time. No, I have to make time. That is advice. Don't run away from your core responsibilities. But at the same time, you don't have to overdo it and try to be super and best. That's not. Even a kid understands that you are a working mom. You cannot be like other women who have lots of help. You cannot be like your dad. Even a kid understands if you let them understand. If you yourself have not accepted that it's okay not to be perfect, how do you expect anybody else to understand? Is it not? So I think that is the advice I would like to give every woman. First accept what you are, what your challenges are. Learn to face it. Never run away from it. Try to grow better than what you are. Don't compare yourself to others. My mother was better than her mother. I am better than my mother. My daughter will be better than me. Why? Because we are passing on the skills and making them better. If you look at it that way, men have been professionals since centuries. So you can imagine how much they have inherited. The diplomacy, the aggressiveness. We are now in that field, and I really appreciate that we have grown much faster than them. Probably because of all the support system like what we are having right now, which probably men don't have. And I think they should have. It's high time that they have some empowerment to understand this change that we are already going through. So we need to understand that we are going on the same platform with people who are supposedly doing that from centuries. So we are going to face challenges, we are going to face discrepancies, we are going to fight for everything. Let that be diplomatically, accept our own nature and do it in our own way. That is what, we don't have to adapt somebody else's qualities. What I'm good at, I'm going to convey it that way. Instead of changing into somebody else, be what we are and put our foot down and do what we have to do. Never accept that, oh, my role is this and I have XYZ priorities and this role is a challenging role. I cannot manage this. No. Unless you take up that opportunity, do it yourself and find out what the challenges are, we will never know our own capabilities. For example, if I am a mother and I am a doctor also, if I say, oh, I am a mother, I don't have time, I am limiting myself. So I have to take up the challenge. I have to do it to know whether I am capable of it, first of all. Only then I can demand it from others, right? So that's the advice. Accept that we have certain limitations. We are still in the learning curve. We have certain challenges. One of the challenges is dealing with people who are already been there since many years. And then accept that we are going to take time, but we are going to do it. Yeah. It's not that we cannot do because we have not been doing it. We can do, we will do, we have been doing it. So, yeah.
I think we are great at being the first also.
Yes.
Because many of us are the first in our profession to have accomplished certain things which have never been done by males or females. So I think we're great at being the first. We're great at leading the path. We're great at being leaders. And, I think as long as we work with men as teams, I think we can accomplish the, goals. I want to talk about perceptions, Dr. Shobha, because you've, got the maximum experience here on this panel. How do you think patients perceive men doctors and women doctors? Is there a change in perception in this country?
So patients' perception changes with gender. It also changes with time, with the same gender. So once I have seen many patients, when they look at men, they're always senior doctors. It doesn't matter the age, it doesn't matter the grey hair. Just being a man makes them a doctor. Just being a woman makes them a sister. So that is there, that's definitely there, but it is changing and it has changed. Ultimately, I have observed that patients finally want care for their loved ones. And if they find that you are giving that, they will respect you for your job. You will ultimately get it. So the moment they treat you differently simply because of your gender, we don't have to get frustrated. Unlike men, yes, the challenge is we have to prove that we are equally capable. And for them also the challenge is to keep proving that they are good. That they also have a challenge. But for us, it's an extra challenge. But that is definitely changing. During my MBBS time, we were sisters for a long time. We are not that long, we're not sisters for such a long time now. The first day maybe, second day they know we are doctors. They correct it comes off, spontaneously sister, then they correct themselves and say doctor. So they know once you show that you are good enough, patients do accept you as a whatever profession you are in and respect you for what you're doing. But yes, things still need to change. It's not enough. Still need to change. There are certain expectations which are different from women and from men. There are still many things needs to change.
What about managements of institutions? So, when people are looking from the top onto your work, do you think there's a perception difference?
Whenever a woman joins, it may not be true everywhere, but it is there. Whenever a woman joins an institute, the first thing that is assumed, it is assumed that she has two roles to play. One is the role at home and one is the role in the hospital as a doctor, as a nurse, whatever. And so let's not trouble her too much. We'll give her a little bit, whatever she can, so that she can go home and do the rest of the things also. Why not give her the choice to decide whether she can do it or not? There may be one woman who cannot. She'll tell me, I can't take this responsibility, I have a baby at home, I don't want this. But there may be another woman who will stand up and do everything. Give her the choice. You don't assume things just because she has priorities in life. Who doesn't? Everybody has a priority. You don't, but when there is a man who's joined, it is already assumed that he will dedicate his entire day for his career. Who knows, maybe he has his own priorities too, right? So this gender assumption is already there in every institute. Maybe men are also suffering because of that. Our sufferings are more vocal because we talk and we are not afraid to talk. Men probably have their own issues and they don't want to talk and they're okay with that, probably not talking. We are not okay, we talk, but this choice has to be given to the lady. She has to be given the choice. Give her the opportunities. If she can do it, she will do it. And sometimes you need the push, Many women who have entered the field just don't know their abilities. So you need to push and tell. And this mostly has to be done by other women who have gone through the same fields. I have done it, you can do it too. So unless they get that push, they will not even try that opportunity. So that push, I think the management or anybody don't actually give. We have to go put an extra effort to get that. So that is what I feel. As a woman, there's a lot of assumption that they cannot handle certain responsibilities. It may be true in a certain phase. First phases, there are a lot of phases, Unmarried phase is different, married phase is different, just married phase is different, parental phase is different, retired phase is different, grandparent phase. For us, each phase is a challenge, and in every challenge, our ability, our compromises are different. So give us the choice. Today I may tell I'm not capable of doing this. Tomorrow I may be confident about doing it. Don't assume things about me. That's all.
Thank you for sharing these thoughts. They really make you think and help you plan your journey better and tell you how time is such an important factor in all of this. Thank you, Dr. Shobha. We now move on to the lady in the management and in the administration, Dr. Rupali. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Smitha, for having me here.
So as you represent women in the administration, do you think there are any gender biases, during recruitment or salary and even during at the time of promotion?
Yeah, I do feel that there are biases existent in this, when it comes to recruitment. Women are asked whether you are married or, planning to get married anytime soon. They are subjected for the pregnancy test without even knowing whether they are comfortable in going for that test or not. And yes, so I believe that gender parity is not there when it comes to, especially recruitment doesn't happen only on your
Skill sets.
skill sets and your
Yeah.
qualifications. Yeah, because your gender plays a role over there. So priority is given for a person because again, as ma'am said, it is assumed that a man can give more time and a woman will have her household responsibilities. So she is preferred a little lesser than the man. In terms of salary, I feel salary nowadays there is a lot better parity in salary because salary is based purely on your designation that you hold and the qualifications and the prior work experience that you are holding. In terms of promotions, yeah, I feel at the lower levels of the hierarchy, it doesn't make a big difference. But as you go up and up into that ladder, especially when it comes to the business decisions, women are being sidelined. And we still have a lot, many more years to go for, that parity to come back.
What do you feel has made you a secure woman as you balance these two worlds?
For me, as I spoke just now, financial security, financial independence is what makes me, feel more secure because I've been one of those fortunate women who got that independence at quite an early age. Since from my father, who was like, who always involved me into, decision making and all the financial transactions and all that he did, he made me write the checks at a very tender age. And that continued, when I became an independent woman, when I became a wife, the financial, I know how to file IT returns, I know how to do my savings. When I am earning, I know what to do with that money. I don't see that happening with many other women though. They are earning a lot of money, but entire control as soon as they go home is, with their parents or with their husband. So they don't have that, security and because of that, they feel they are dependent on their parents or their husband for, they can't take independent decisions because of that. So I feel this is something which we should, our future generations, our daughters, we should make them learn how to be financially independent. So that is what makes me feel secure, and I believe everyone should learn about that.
I think so too, because a lot of times when we sit together, chat and have, lunch or tea, everyone's very stressed when it's time to file their tax or, what savings they should do. So I think we should really take this very seriously and, improve our skills in finances.
Exactly. In fact, there was a social experiment done by one online payment portal a year ago. And, it was a very simple experiment where men and women both working class, were asked to, stand in one single line and simple questions were being asked. And if you know the answer, you step one step ahead. If you don't know the answer, you just take one step back. So initial questions were very simple and gender neutral, like, do you know how to cook dal and chawal and all that. So many people were taking the steps ahead and ahead. As the question started becoming a little bit more about money, where the question was like, do you know what Form 16 is? All the women stepped back. Again, next question, do you know how to file your income tax returns? Again, all the women stepped back. And, the questions were getting more complicated and more complex about the finance and, your money matters. And the gap between the men and women, the gender inequality was so apparent over there. That experiment was really an eye-opener. And that made me think that, we should actually work on this field. We should try and make our daughters independent. We should teach them, they should not be looking up to their father or their husband to, manage their own money. That is what true liberalization of women is going to be in future.
Yeah, that's very true. In all of us being in India, in a culture which is very old, very deep rooted in all the religions we have, all the practices we have. Do you think there's any aspect of our history, our mythology, and our culture which also kind of contributes to this?
Yes, it does. It definitely does, because I believe all the Shastras and Puranas are so, misogynistic, and they are so, as you can say, like male chauvinistic, to be honest, actually. So, even in the simplest form, when somebody elders, when we touch our traditions, in our tradition we touch feet as a respect to them, they will generally bless you. If you are a married woman, they will bless you like Akhanda Saubhagyavati Bhava, which is, a blessing to her husband and not to her. I used to fight with my parents on this point, actually, that you are not blessing your own daughter, and you are blessing in fact, you are wishing that you die earlier than your husband. Is that what you want? So, it is rooted to that level, and it's going to take a long time for to come out of all this, actually. So we have to, why can't we simply say Ayushman Bhava, which is like to you. Say, for example, if I have to talk about the fasting, many women are made to fast in the name of good health and prosperity for your husband. Sometimes women fast for the good health of their children. But what about her own self? Sometimes they try to glorify it by saying that fasting is good for your own health, and they just try to give some, cozy, good, different name for that. But why men can't do that? Why men can't fast for their wife's health? Where it has shown that, fasting for husband and husbands have not become immortal, or wives have, not, they are not dying. So, I feel, these social and cultural deep-rooted, the instincts and everything that is there, we need to start from that level. Then only the change is going to happen. It's not going to happen overnight, because I see many educated women also accepting this as a norm. Yeah. This needs to change. It needs to change at that level, wherein we should say both are equal. If fasting is good for health, let both the people do. If it is going to bring some good luck and prosperity, good health, let both the people do. It has to be equal. It cannot be only gender specific.
End mein bottom line which will come is itna lade kaun. That is usually what ends up happening. Kis se lade? I can't see the villain. Only villain has died some 2 centuries. So
but it has to begin somewhere. What I said just now, it gives you an indirect meaning that somebody else's prosperity is your prosperity.
Yeah.
Exactly. That is it's not like you prosper, everybody else will prosper. It's different for us, If XYZ prospers, you prosper. If XYZ doesn't prosper, you're doomed. Why that? Everybody should prosper. You prosper.
Women are taught to be submissive. That's the problem of our society. Since time immemorial, women are caretakers and supporting caste.
Yeah.
Like, आपका काम है to keep the entire house running, everything running, society running, creating new society, but you support.
Yeah.
And then people will act like that's like a noble thing to do. You should not want, good girls don't want the spotlight. They stand behind the man.
Yeah, just another thing to add to it is like today, even, if I have to tell a story, like, she gets up at around 5 o'clock in the morning, does all the household work, comes to office, she works shoulder to shoulder with her man counterpart, and she is, takes no nonsense, she is very methodical, does her work, goes back home, and then again her third shift starts, because she has to take care of pallets of everybody at home. This is not the case with a man, because a man who is like working for 9 to 5, the same hours that as a woman has done, he goes back home and, he just sits on the sofa and, the entire, everything is taken for granted that, oh my God, he has done so much of work throughout the day, he is so tired. The mother will come running if he is a bachelor, then the wife will come, everything will be served handy to him. That isn't the case with the working women today as well. So I think we are almost 100 years away still from the gender equality and gender parity, and we need to work a lot on that. So,
how do you think we should train the future generation? Because we are definitely training our girls. Like all of us, we train our students, we train our sisters, our cousins. But do you think the boys are getting trained enough? Do you think the dads are telling their sons, or do you think y'all as mothers are teaching your sons? How is that happening?
I think exactly this you pointed out at the correct point actually. We have trained our daughters how to be independent and how to be liberal, and last decade has seen wonderful change happening in terms of women liberalization. But at the same time, we have not taught our sons how to take up a liberal woman. And I think that is something which we should work on. We should teach our sons that tomorrow when you are going to get married and you are going to bring your wife, she's not going to be a probably stereotypical woman like you would have grown up seeing your mother probably. She's going to be a dependent who doesn't know how to cook. She will go out, she'll hang out with her friends. She will have her own space and, circle. And you need to accept that. It's not going to be probably the same like you have seen your father doing. So this change has to begin at your own home level, where we have to teach our sons that, it's okay to cook for yourself. It's not your wife's responsibility or any other female person in your family's responsibility to feed you. Yes. Your health, your requirements are to be taken care by you. Same time, respecting women and accepting them as, the things are accepted for men. All these, things need to be inculcated into our, male child actually. So that is where, the change will begin.
I have a question for you actually. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Based on what you just said, why is it that whenever we phrase this, we act like the guy has to give something up to accept the liberalization of the woman that he's going to be a partner with? Because from what I have seen growing up, because my mom was a working woman too, I have seen, my dad might not have that. He has always shared the chores at home. But what he gained in the process was a woman who actually understood everything that was happening at his workplace. My mom is my dad's best friend.
Yep.
And you gain that level of mental wavelength, right? Like, why do we always act like the best ideal choice is a woman who would make life easier by just serving food at the right time, or, getting the kids ready at the right time? Why not want more from the relationship? Like, do you have anything to say on that?
I think it's the equal responsibility of both the partners in a relationship. It should not be, we should not label any responsibility to any gender basically. I have been fortunate enough to have a husband who never had any shame in doing the household works, household chores and all that. And even I am teaching my son also to become independent, and it's okay to cook being a male, and it's okay to do your own work, do your own laundry, or for that matter iron your clothes and all that. So I don't believe in labeling the works to gender, definitely, but when we see, probably you and me are the fortunate enough who got that kind of platform, but there are so many women in this world who are still getting abused. They still face the domestic abuse at home, and even it's not only limited to that class. It happens across the classes, across all the socio-economic classes. You see, women are being subject to the domestic abuse, the domestic violence. As I said, they don't have financial independence because they simply they feel happy that they are coming out and earning some money. They feel very happy and content at that. They don't realize the real potential and real independence that they will get if they are completely financially independent of their family members. So I'm talking a lot more about the financial independence, but that's something very close to my heart, and I feel women should be
I too strongly agree with you. If you need any help, people are there to help you. But when it comes to money, when it comes to money, everybody has their own issues. Not everybody can help you. So being financially independent means a lot. It really means a lot. At least you don't have to extend your hand to somebody, give me this, give me that. You have the money. Like I said, outsource. How can you outsource if you're not financially independent? Right. How are you going to hire a cook? How are you going to hire a maid? How are you going to get that second help from somebody if you cannot pay them?
Right? So financial independence, yes, it's a must for every woman. She should know how to handle her money. Every man has to understand that when he comes home and shares responsibility, he's setting a good example to every member of the family. There was a time when men would go, far away to earn, but those times are no longer there. We are all traveling. We are all, we are all doing the same kind of work. I think there was a time when physical power was very important. Now, we don't lift boulders anymore. We have machines to do that. Right? You don't have to be physically strong for anything. And the only difference in gender, which is absolute, is I think reproduction. Rest everything can be shared. Rest everything should be shared. There should be no shame, no bias in sharing. Yes, division of labor is there. I do this, you did this, but that's an understanding between two people. It should not be gender based.
Right.
It should not be gender based. It should be an understanding, a deal between two people, irrespective of the gender. Today, this week, I will do this. I'm tired, you do that. I think that's how it should be.
Actually, ma'am makes a very good point. I want to say this just to clarify because I've heard this from like too many people who will just go like, "Arey, abhi feminism wali baat shuru mat karna." Like it's like a bad word. Okay, so to whoever's listening, if you're still with us, feminism means there should be equal opportunity regardless of a gender-based prejudice. That doesn't mean that the man and the woman have to be same. No, if I am sitting here and she's sitting here, clearly she drapes a sari much better than I do. We are not equal when we are comparing how to drape a sari. Conversely, maybe, I don't know, I'm better at something else. Like
Surgery.
So that's what I'm trying to say. You will always know two human beings are going to be exactly equal. It's about the worth being equal. For the same amount of work, they should have the same opportunity and the same pay. So it is that. So please understand that nobody is running trying to go like, nahi, that person will work, lift 5 kgs, I will also lift 5 kgs. I am 5'3", I will probably not be able to lift more than 10 kgs. Yeah. That's okay. If I am doing the same work and another guy who can lift 15 kgs is doing the same work, but we're doing the same work, we should be paid the same. That's the whole point. Yeah. So, and feminism is not a bad thing. If you think you and your sister are equal in terms of respect as a human being and worth and all that, then you're a feminist. Then it's not a bad word. So, yeah.
I wish there was some other word for that. I know. Something else.
It's just equalist, I think.
Feminism is equalist.
Sounds like anti-men. Yeah. Not anti-men.
No, that is female supremacist. There is a word for it. Anti-men is female supremacy. No, it was called feminism because back then it was obvious that women are the subjugated lot. That is the only reason. It has a historical thing. That's why it was called patriarchy. The opposite of patriarchy is not female supremacy, it is equality. And if there's any confusion about it, Google it. just Google it. It's not so difficult.
Thank you all for your time. Thank you for sharing your ideas. I know each one of you in your journey at home and at work have experienced it, sometimes in a macro way, but sometimes in small micro ways. I think all the women should know that we are all there to support each other, and we are going to work with men as team members. We're going to be challenging them to be as competent, as hardworking, and I think we have all the leadership skills in us to lead any team. So thank you, Narayana, for this opportunity with these lovely women. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for amazing, thoughtful questions.
Thank you.
And thank you for killing it at work like you do.
Enjoy working with you girls.
And Smitha, maybe for gender parity?
Yes.
Today, this year's theme.